Living my life easy and breezy. Yeah. I wish. Well, I guess I kind of am living in the moment. I have a little bit of peace, but, a lot of chaos. I was going to say something and make a video, and I forget now what it was even about. Oh, I now remember. One of Cody's main issues in the last year seemed to me like he was offended that I handled things the way I did, and he wanted me to apologize for ruining his life. And he would say like, you didn't have to do it that way. You could have XYZ. And he wanted me to apologize for how I did it. And I would say, no, I did the best I could do. That was the only solution I saw. It was the only thing I thought I could do. And I did the best I could. And I'm not apologizing that you don't like how it turned out. Like, I feel better because I achieved in a very messy, terrible way, but I achieved what I wanted, which was learning how to be autonomous. Yes, it did not go well. Yes, it has been pure chaos for the past year. Honestly, it has been horrible. But he was so mad that I didn't do it his way. And I was like, that's the whole thing. That's the whole premise, is that everything was your way. And I just tried to do things that were okay or allowed. I wasn't allowed to like figure anything out for myself. And this is the first time where I was just like, I have a problem. I don't feel safe. I don't feel independent. I don't feel like I'm allowed to do anything. And I like tried to get out of that pit. And it was just like, I was in a really stressful situation for a very long time. I didn't feel like I was allowed to say anything. I didn't feel like I was allowed to go anywhere or do anything or go to school. And I'm not going to say depressed. I would say I was like demotivated because I didn't see a way out. I didn't see a way to fix any of those problems that had been going on for a long time. And when I asked in January of 2022, I said, can I go to school? And he was like, how does that work? I don't want to lower my standard of living. And I asked about a nanny, and he was like, I don't know. And I didn't feel like he was on board, and I didn't want to pursue something that I wasn't sure if it was going to work. And I didn't know if he was on board. I didn't know, and he said no. But I wasn't going to fight him. Like, he, in the end, wanted me to fight back and prove to him why I should go to school. I was not at that place in my life. I was barely being like, can I please? And he was like, and I was like, But the bigger problem is that he was in control of that decision and he was not supportive of me. And I had told him, I need you to help me to find happiness and be supportive and find something that will help me to feel fulfilled. Because I thought that all of the things we had done were about him, and I didn't have anything for me. And I wanted him to help me to figure something out where I would not be so down in the dumps and I could have some purpose. And when I would ask him if I could go do something, he wouldn't say, well, I never get to do anything. And I'd be like, but you get to leave the house. Let me have a nanny then. He'd be like, I don't think so. And then I went to his parents because he yelled a lot. Then I went to my parents to see if they could babysit. And I'm trying to manage his outbursts and his mental health while trying to fix mine, but not hurt him. I wanted him to get help because I did think everything was psychological. Still could be. Or he could just be really mean and very stubborn. But or it could be psychological. But the point is, I wanted to get help because I did not think I was going to be able to figure it out with him. And I didn't in the end. We did not figure it out. But when he was complaining about things after last May, he had a huge issue with how I went about it. And I was like, this is all I could do. I tried everything I could do to find happiness. I tried everything to be unafraid. I tried to get him help. I tried to get him counseling. I talked to him about his mental health constantly. Not constantly, but whenever it would affect me, I'd be like, have you gone to a counselor? Can we do marriage counseling? Like, I'm afraid of you killing yourself. I'm afraid of you getting sick and dying. I'm afraid that I don't have enough money because if you die, I will have to move in with your parents. Like, stuff like that. He knew about those issues. But I know I'm scattered and I'm jumping around a lot. And a lot of things I say, when I say them, I'm just like, that's not it. Like, there are so many different pieces that, like, sometimes I'll say something, I'm like, that's not even what I want to express. Like, that's not even the thing at all. But I have a really hard time getting to the, first of all, maintaining a direct line of thought and connecting pieces and getting where I want to go. Like, it's really hard to explain all the things because there's so many factors and so many different, like, pieces of this stupid, huge puzzle. But anyway, I was thinking about this additional year. So since last May, he's consistently been saying, like, you didn't have to do it that way. You could have had what you wanted without giving me away. And I was like, I wasn't giving you away. I was trying to get some freedom, but, like, I'm still here. I still love you. I just need what I need and I don't feel safe. And he'd be like, I am safe. I'd be like, well, I don't feel it. And he'd be like, I would never hit you. I was like, I'm not talking about hitting. I'm talking about emotional safety. I don't feel like I'm allowed to express myself. I don't feel like I'm allowed to speak. I don't feel like I'm free to do anything or go anywhere or have a life or pursue something I want. I don't feel like he took care of the kids. He never brushed their hair or teeth. Like, when he would take them somewhere, like, I just did not feel like he was a capable parent, and I just didn't feel good about it. But now I was thinking, okay, first of all, on a serious note, I did not want to crash my car, obviously. That was horrendous. My children, I don't even address that part in my brain because I'm just like, because I have no access to them, I wasn't able to know anything about that car accident. I just kind of don't think about that. And I have had a broken foot this whole time and it still hurts. And so when I feel that, I think about them, but I try not to dwell on it because there's nothing I can do. I cannot contact them. I can't have information. So I just kind of, like, put that aside. So yes, that is devastating. That it was a car accident. A lot of people get in car accidents. A lot of people get injured. Sometimes people die. I'm glad nobody did. I am very glad that ended the way, well, I'm glad that ended without us dying and it wasn't worse. I'm glad it ended and there were injuries that were not life-threatening. Maybe I'll say it like that. Like, I'm glad, like, even though it was horrible, I'm glad it wasn't worse. Maybe that explains it. I'm glad that in the situation I was in and how that went, I'm glad that we all survived. However, going back to Cody, he's going to hate me for the rest of my life for this car accident. He's going to hate me for it. The thing for me is, like, I didn't want to do that either. I didn't want to get in a car accident. That was not a good time. I did not have fun. I did not want to lose that. I like that car better. I would rather be driving that car. Like, as a basic, I don't want my kids hurt. I don't want myself hurt. I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to lose custody of my kids. Any of those things. I didn't want any of that. But taking that aside, I'm just, like, talking about one piece of the puzzle. He's going to hate me for the rest of my life for that car accident. And he's going to blame me. And he's going to say, you didn't have to do that. And I'm going to be like, I didn't want to. And I did the best I could. Still, even though everything is a disaster and a huge mess. But I did the best I could. I know it looks horrible. I don't know what else could have happened. Like, I can't just turn my brain over to Cody. Like, he wanted to make those decisions and be like, well, if you had done it my way, and I'm like, but I'm not you. I'm me. I am myself. I can't just turn my brain and be like, well, let me tune it to Cody's channel and do things the right way. I'm not Cody. I'm myself. And yes, I've gotten myself into so many disasters. I didn't want to. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't want any of that to happen. I don't want to dissociate. I do not want to experience depersonalization. I hate that one. Derealization is also bad. I was experiencing both of those when I got in a car accident. But they're horrible. I have flashbacks. I have nightmares. I don't enjoy dissociation. I hate it. Ugh. Like, it's horrifying. It's terrifying. It's like being trapped in a nightmare. It is being trapped in a nightmare, I think. I think it's like you're awake, but your brain is dreaming. If that makes sense. It's like I'm dreaming, but I'm awake. And then things like appear like you're in a dream, but you're actually awake. If that makes sense. So, I guess to explain it, I also do not like how things have unfolded. However, I am me, and I didn't see another way that it could have gone when I tried my best to do what I had to do. It's not like I told myself to take those certain steps to achieve the goal I wanted. It was that I was searching for a way to achieve what I needed to get out of a bad situation. It did not go well. He's gonna hate me forever. I don't hate myself. I feel sad, but there's no hatred. I feel proud of myself. This might sound silly. I feel proud of myself for lasting as long as I did under that amount of stress. That level of stress, being yelled at by someone consistently and being afraid of him, I did that for like well over a year. If you want to count from like January, February of 2022, that was a solid year. Just from then. But he had been yelling for a long time before that. He just got very consistent after the ISU thing. But I put up with that consistently. And I stalled him and I waited, like even after the first disaster last May, I did my best to stay calm, to help my kids, to work on myself, my psychology. I stayed good with my counselor. Like, I did the very best I could. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. If dissociation is not a choice, which I believe, obviously who would want to experience that? Then I'm also proud of myself for handling it and going through hell. It's like someone who went through cancer. You didn't want cancer, but you survived it. Or a seizure. Or a shooting or something. I don't know. Like experiencing one of the most traumatic events. I experienced it too. I didn't enjoy it either. But I'm proud of myself for getting through it. And for still being here, for one. Because it's very discouraging. And for doing what I think is best. Like, I usually followed what he wanted. For a long time, I just did what he said. And that's why he was so pissed that I did not do this how he said. And that I did try to break free, and it was not pretty. And he's like, you could have done that without breaking free. And I'm like, but that's the whole point. I had to break free. Because everything was chosen by him. And I had no voice. And he yelled every single day. And he would say, you yell at me. And I'm like, criticism is not yelling. Yelling is volume. Criticism is, I'm not happy with this. And I don't think you've picked up a vacuum in your entire life. He thinks that's yelling. I think that's criticism. And his would be loud, 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 foaming at the mouth, spewing white foam. And I'm like, that's scary. And you don't look like you're in control of your body. You need to calm down. And he'd be like, you calm down. And I'd be like, just because I'm not happy with my life, I can express that in a normal, calm voice and look for answers how to fix it. But he would just spew, and I'm like, I can't fix my life if you're going to explode. And then I got away. Not easily. I'm in hell right now. I'm still in hell. Not a laughing matter, but I am under investigation for it. Come on! Who would want to do that, guys? It's so absurd. So absurd. My heavens. So, anyway, that's where I'm at. I'm less miserable now than I was with Cody not knowing how to get out of that situation. And for me, out meant getting him help so he didn't kill himself, and so I didn't ruin his life by trying to get independent. I bet he thinks I did ruin his life, but I was trying to not ruin his life while also obtain a life for myself. So he's going to blame me for that. But my intention was for us both to be happy, not just him. He might not have even been happy. I was pursuing what I was able to control, which was autonomy. That's what I worked on in counseling every week, autonomy. And now I'm fully autonomous in the worst way. But I am happier not feeling like he's gonna yell at me, like he's constantly scaring me, like he's comparing me to my mom all the time, who I don't want to listen about all the time. And now it's like I'm sad because I don't have my kids. I'm not sad that I don't have Cody. Like, I wanted him to change, but he didn't. I wanted him to go back to how he was, but he didn't. And then he made choices that mean that I don't have to keep trying. Like, I can let go, even though I was never going to let go. I was going to stick with him forever. Literally, I told him I loved him like that week. I was like, no, I love you. Even though you're mad at me, I still love you. And he's like, no, you don't. I'm like, yeah, I do. I'm still here. I'm still working on this because I know it's best for me to be happy too. So I could be a better wife and mom. And he didn't like that. He was not patient. But I did it the best I could. And I still feel like, yeah, it's messy. Very messy. Not enjoyable. Some things happen that I don't like either. But I wasn't just existing. I feel pretty, like, what's the word? Authentic? I feel like a lot of bad things have happened in my life. I've gotten myself into a lot of messes, like when I was in Ecuador and I got dropped off in the wrong city and then I had to go back, and then I got stranded in Quito. No, not Quito. Where was it? Can't remember now. It was wherever the Katitawa school is. It's right near Baños. But I got stuck there at midnight, and then all the cab drivers were trying to give me a ride, but there was nowhere to go. There were no hotels. And then I ended up going home with one of the female cab drivers and sleeping at her house. Like, that was a mess. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be murdered in Ecuador. But I didn't get murdered in Ecuador, and I did something unconventional. Not that that was, like, nothing bad happened, but it was still, like, one of these situations where I got myself into a mess. I solved it in a very weird way. And then it was over. A lot of weird things happen like that. But this one just happens to include a very sad event of a car crash. Nevertheless, what could I have done differently? Not get in a car accident? Yes, please. How? I don't think anyone wants to get in a car accident. So if you take away, like, yeah, it's devastating. I don't know what I could have done differently. I begged for help. I said, please help me. I need help, because I didn't know how to get away from him. And I knew he was coming after me with a lawyer. And I didn't know how to avoid that. And I was so afraid every time I thought about it that I would dissociate just thinking about him divorcing me. I would dissociate being like, my life is over. I can't do this. I don't want to live in Idaho. I don't have a job. He told me he's going to bankrupt me and take my kids. I don't want to deal with this. That was horrible. And I was asking for help because I could not comprehend it, because it was cognitively too much. I could not bear it. And I didn't know who was going to help me, but I was like, someone, SOS, help me. Like, I'm going to act out. Like, come get me. But what they did instead, apparently, is they went to him. And I was like, guys, that's the opposite of what you should have done. You should have come to me. If you thought I had a problem, come to me and tell me. And I will say, wait, no, it's not that. It's this. Let me tell you. I didn't know who to tell. I didn't know who to tell. So when I was being loud, I'm like, people are watching this. Can someone ask me in person? Like on YouTube or poetry and stuff? No, no one did. I'd already asked everyone I knew in person. Anyway, that's all.